Chapter 405 of Hunter x Hunter is officially out, and I'm not gonna lie, this is a really good chapter. I know I say this practically every single week, but the guy's just been nailing it out of the park ever since he came back from his hiatus with some really great chapters with awesome plot developments and having things click together while also making things a bit more complex for the wider narrative of this entire arc. But this chapter not only gave us a couple more answers and reveals, but also set stuff up for some worst case scenarios for the future, and I'm incredibly excited for it. But before we really jump into things, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. So, let's just start off with one of the immediate revelations at the start of this chapter, and that is us getting the reveal of the actual True Blue HISOKA, who is essentially on Tier 1, seemingly pawning himself off as a card dealer at a table in the casino. And let's just say this appearance of HISOKA, I originally thought this was the same HISOKA we saw back in the last batch of chapters in like 392, I believe? But no. After some inner monologue and later on confirmation, this is HISOKA. This is the actual first appearance of HISOKA. And it's revealed that the HISOKA that we saw in the last batch of chapters 2 years ago was actually Banalanov. You know, remember the troop who's wrapped in the mummy bandages and the boxing gloves? Apparently, his ability is to transform into people that he has met and spent time with. And so, the whole thing with HISOKA in the last batch of chapters, it was actually Banalanov helping with a grander plan from Frollo. Now, before I get into that, let's think of the more in-depth analysis of HISOKA's mentality and also answer some questions as well as to what we would think would happen if like HISOKA encountered the Chimera ants. So HISOKA is essentially going through an inner monologue stating why he didn't want to take part in the ant extermination, everything going on with the Chimera ants. It's because they weren't people, they were ants, so he didn't really feel any real quote-unquote attraction to them. And when he felt that rumbling earlier, which was from Hulkenberg's net ability, he didn't really find any interest in it because it was a group ability. It wasn't based off of somebody else. It was based on an M-Beast, helping create the power and all that. And with how HISOKA goes with, he prefers to basically fight people one-on-one. He thinks he is quote-unquote normal, and I guess for HISOKA standards, yes. And so that's why he prefers to have one-on-one fights with people that he deems worth the time. And their time is worth being with him. It kind of helps give us a bit more for HISOKA's mentality. Also kind of confirms something that we all really kind of knew from the get-go, that HISOKA essentially equates fighting to, well, being intimate with somebody. So he is a psychopath after all, so it makes sense. But it's after this little bit of inner monologue that we see someone following HISOKA. And it's HISOKA. And like I stated, this is Banalanov, as he didn't expect to find HISOKA in Tier 1 in the VIP casino. And so, apparently Frollo had Banalanov transform into HISOKA, and then set up that whole thing with Henry and the Haley family, so that he can be sent to Tier 1 to keep an eye on things and to look out for HISOKA, because he is on the ship. And if he finds HISOKA, he will let Frollo know and help bring the ants together, all the spiders together to essentially take out HISOKA once and for all. Now, obviously, we end up jumping back in time a bit, as we see that back when we got that reveal of HISOKA, we never got the full-on confirmation. It was from the girl that when she punches someone, literally their inner thoughts are spoken to her and she can tell if they're telling the truth or not. And so Banalanov transformed into that blood guy, and so he had to kill the girl to keep his secret that he's a fake HISOKA from blurting out to the rest of the Mafia families. Obviously, with this person being killed by Banalanov, there's always the possibility that they'll find out the troop killed her, but they just pawn off to HISOKA, or perhaps even the Haley family, since they're going on a killing spree. So bases are kind of covered, even with that bit of a risk. But I like more of this confirmation about the treasure that Frollo really wants on the Black Whale 1. And that is that he wants to find a Nen ability, and that there's a Nen user that he wants to steal an ability from, that has an ability that can kill HISOKA once and for all. But I like how it goes into how everybody wants to sell things with HISOKA once and for all, but not letting Frollo do so. They want to do it without Frollo kind of doing anything too out of hand, because Frollo wants to take this upon himself and deal with HISOKA himself. But the way how the Phantom Troop works, They just want to take Chrollo out for revenge. They want to do this instead of Chrollo, kind of leave him out of it. But still, it's interesting that the fact that we knew that when the Phantom Troop came onto the Black Whale, they wanted to rob the place as one big heist. We didn't expect that one of the parts of the heist that Chrollo was primarily looking for was a Nen ability to help him kill HISOKA once for all so that he wouldn't be brought back. We also get some confirmation from Banana of why Chrollo kept the number 9 spot empty the entire time ever since HISOKA betrayed them and left. That he wants HISOKA to essentially be the last person to have that spot in the Phantom Troop and kind of close the curtain on that whole thing from HISOKA's whole big performance and betrayal. So that is interesting. Chrollo essentially doesn't want to leave any real risks, but also wants to kind of turn away from the whole thing that happened with HISOKA, so that is fairly interesting. But yeah, once Manolanov found HISOKA, he didn't expect to find them right away. He transformed into somebody else. This is why I like having some friends that read HunterxHunter also. And apparently, I did not recognize this person that Banana transformed into, but it was actually one of the Shadow Beasts that they took capture and had that like carpet ability for stealing stuff. So yeah, that is really cool callback to York New City. What actually makes Banana's ability a bit more messed up is that the time he spends as somebody else in that transformation state depends on how long he's known the person face to face. So depending on how long he can stay in that transformation, confirms how long they kind of kept that guy kind of, chained up until he was dead, potentially. And also, has Manolanov done this to a lot of other people to stock up on potential transformations to keep these disguises going? That's a big thing, so yeah. But anyway, we actually get to see Chrollo 100% for the first time ever. We get the page dedicated to himself as he's walking through the Black Whale with a news report in the background giving an announcement over someone that died a decade ago by a brutal murder. And he's like a chairman of a charity foundation dedicated to helping children, and no one has any clues on who his murderer is. And now, based off of the context from how this was and how Chrollo was shown after this panel showcasing this guy's face, I had to take a double take and go back to the last batch of chapters because I knew I saw this guy before. And my suspicions were correct. This guy is definitely 100% Sarasa's killer. We all know from the Phantom Troop backstory that Sarasa, one of the OG members of the troop back when they were just like a literal theater troupe, was brutally murdered in a forest by herself by people, and her remains were left in a bag for people to find. So this confirms that at least a decade ago, the Phantom Troop found this guy who was Sarasa's killer and enacted sweet brutal revenge on him. And let's be honest, chances are what the Phantom Troop did to him probably wasn't cruel enough based on what they did to Sarasa. And also the darker implications, the fact that this guy had a charity organization for children to help them. The darker implications of that is potentially not all the children were being helped. And let's just leave it at that. Let our imaginations go with that. I don't want to think about it. But after this pretty big confirmation to an extent of Sarasa's killer essentially being already dealt with a long time ago, we cut back to Nobunaga's group as they're talking back to the Cha'ar family and their whole deal. As they're trying to figure out what's going on with the Hail-Lee and what their goals and reasons are. As Nobunaga does bring up something that's interesting as they're taking off the balance from the Mafia families and going against everything, asking if it's really Hail-Lee on this ship. And so after going over the fact that, well, the previous boss was taken out, and thus Morena ended up coming to the fold as the boss now, due to the whole not being proper royal descent, illegitimate child of King Nasabi and all that, she took the quote-unquote throne and chair of the Hail-Lee family and is now in charge. So they don't know her personally, but they know that she is part of the Hail-Lee family and is the person running things. But I like how Nobunaga essentially comes to a big conclusion after wondering what's their goal and what are they aiming for? What exactly are they trying to do? Because when it comes to wanting to take out the Mafia families and all that, it doesn't really make too much sense based on all of the things that the Hail-Lee are doing, especially the fact that they're killing civilians. especially with the fact that civilians are essentially their customers, as the vice boss of the Char family is talking about. So why would they kill all of these civilians? The underboss, whose name I can't remember, goddamn, so many names to remember. I'm sorry, guys. Let me know who his name is. I feel like it's fairly obvious. But he ends up asking maybe the reasoning for all this is something else. And Nobunaga states that Haley is trying to destroy everything. Not just the princes, not just the mafia bosses, but civilians in general, everything on this ship, Kakin as a whole. And so, with how things were in that sealed chamber, he talks about how the sealed chamber on the cruise ship presents a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and that there could be multiple motivations. And that the power needed to destroy everything, they get their power from killing. And so they're using literal human sacrifices in order to gain the power from Nen. And so Nobunaga basically full-on deduces Murena's whole motivation right off the bat, because he put the Phantom Troop themselves, with their mentality of basically kind of being a part of a group, but also kind of doing whatever the heck they want with their own motivations. He put himself in that whole mentality, and he came up literally with everything that Morena is doing right now. Not only with the fact that she wants to destroy everything due to how things have been going, but also the fact that literally all the members of the Haley have just been kind of doing their own thing, as shown by every Haley member they've encountered thus far. That is very big deductions by Nobunaga. Not only that, but also coming in with confirmation that they are basically getting stronger based off killing people, which is why they're killing so many people in so many different ways. So, yeah, man, Nobunaga, you gotta become a detective or something like that, like a criminal investigator, because, oh man, you literally figured everything out right off the bat. But as the Char vice boss ends up saying that them and the Shiyu family are gonna fully cooperate, they ask the Phantom Troop once more to crush the Haley. And so they end up going off with the vice boss, and as they're going through this sealed hallway, we end up getting the underboss's inner monologues, as when Nobunaga says to kind of get the rest of the Phantom Troop together so that they could end up essentially figuring all this out and go to finally take out the Haley family. We get the inner monologue of the underboss, as he literally says, "Morena, we've got a problem. These guys might find you far sooner than we expected. It accelerates the schedule, but we might have to use our Joker." So this confirms that the underboss of the Char family is in league with Morena, is a mole for Morena, and essentially is trying to feed information that they know to her. So we have betrayals already. And I am so happy for this, because this adds another layer to this, because this guy will probably do something to throw a wrench in things. And I cannot wait to see how this happens. But here's the thing. We end up cutting to Morena as she is with Dogman, who is an enhancer and a level 72 in the Contagion game. And so they are going to use him to go to Hulkenberg's funeral procession. And there's going to be a lot of people there, and they're probably going to send more Haley members. And this is a big worst case scenario, because that literally gives every member of the Haley family basically free reign to level up in this instance and get stronger based off of mass murder. So that is crazy. Also, Dogman, he's level 62. He's almost to the stage where he could end up doing his own Contagion game and bring more people into it. But what is interesting is that Morena, while also the possibility of them killing a bunch of people in that whole funeral procession to level up, their main goal is to find somebody in the crowd. As, thanks to his leveling up, Dogman can now essentially sniff out somebody's Nen type, and whether they've learned Nen within 2 meters. So the closer he gets to somebody, not only can he find out if they know Nen, but he can also know their Nen type or Nen affinity. And that ends up adding more to strategy, because if you know someone's affinity and once you see their actual full-on Nen abilities, you can come up with a much more concrete strategy to take them out and deal with them. So this is already an incredibly powerful ability. It gives him a big advantage in any fight he gets into, especially if it's close quarters. So that is incredibly useful in any scenario involving Nen users. So with this whole thing with Dogman, he's going off to the funeral procession to find whoever they're looking for. And he's got somebody who has like a capture ability who can essentially have guaranteed capture if the person doesn't know Nen. So if whoever they're finding, if they know Nen, it'll be harder for this ability to essentially capture him. But if he doesn't know Nen, it'll be a lot easier. So this all comes down to who this person that they're looking for is. They don't say specifically. Honestly, it'd be pretty big if the person that Morena is looking for in this crowd is also the same person that Crollo was looking for the specific Nen ability to take on HISOKA and kill him once and for all. But yeah, that is very big. I hope that funeral procession is going to be a freaking bloodbath soon, and things are being set up. But you want to know what's also incredibly foreboding? Morena essentially sent some other guys that got taken out by the Phantom Troop, or at least got won out by the Phantom Troop and other people, off to level up to a special room where it seemingly they did a mass slaughter of people to level up to the level 50s. And so they're just oozing with aura. And these guys are definitely going to be a big problem. Now, let me know in the comments, because I do not remember these guys. I'm going to have to go back and double check and read it soon. But let me know if we've seen their Nen abilities before. And let me know in the comments and what their Nen types are. But either way, they've leveled up a lot. They're definitely oozing with power. And if these guys go off with the funeral processions with Dogman, or at least encounter the Phantom Troop in this instance, it's going to be a rough fight. And the chapter ends with Nobunaga, Phaeton, and Finks going to the end of the hallway to a door, and it being opened. And they are incredibly shocked with what they are seeing. And that ends the chapter. So, what did we learn with this chapter? Well, for one, the HISOKA we thought we meant was not HISOKA, but now we 100% know where HISOKA is, and he is stuck with Banalanov in this instance. So, let's be honest. With how things are right now, I wouldn't be surprised if Banalanov is the next member of the troop that gets taken out by HISOKA. Because if HISOKA, based on his experience, will most likely find Banalanov at some way, shape, or form, and if Banalanov is by himself, HISOKA will probably just off him in some big way, because he wants to take out the entirety of the Phantom Troop. So, Banalanov is in probably one of the most dangerous situations for all the troop members, and I worry for the guy's safety. But we probably won't have to worry about him for a little bit, so he might be good for now. We got confirmation on who Sarasa's killer is, and that the Phantom Troop did get their revenge. We learned that Crollo is after somebody with an ability that could take out HISOKA once for all, so he won't come back. Potentially, if HISOKA tried to do another post-mortem Nen thing and became stronger, for all we know. So that's definitely going to be interesting. And I wonder what this new Nen ability could be, and who this specific person is. Now that is the big mystery that we're building up to. Same with Morena finding a specific person at the funeral of Hulkenberg. So that is also an incredibly big plot thread that we have to see wrapped up. I personally would love to see if who Morena was looking for and who Crollo was looking for are the same person, leading to a big conflict with the Haley family, with the rest of the Phantom Troop. And the reveal that the underboss of the Chahar family is in league with Morena is a big bombshell in and of itself. So I'm excited to see how that's going to play into things. And I wonder if they will end up getting the rest of the Phantom Troop to come back together, minus Banalanov, so that they can deal with the Haley family. Because based on how things are, with not only just those three members we saw at the end of this chapter, oozing with aura and have gotten stronger, they have essentially free level farming at that funeral procession with so many people. If Morena takes advantage of that, sends everybody in the Haley family to go and just take out so many people in that instance, it's going to be a bloodbath. And her people are going to level up. She might end up causing multiple contagions with her Nen ability, and then the killing game will just keep going on and on and on until everything's said and done, and potentially finish things off with the Secession War and maybe kind of screw everything up potentially. That is incredibly likely. But I see a big conflict with the Phantom Troop much sooner than expected against the Haley family. But it'd be really cool if HISOKA just barges in and tries to take on some one-on-one fights for some people. I would love it if it would be pretty interesting if Morena was looking for HISOKA. I highly doubt it. But yeah, that would be pretty interesting as well. I do want to know one thing that we all kind of have to think about. How did HISOKA get on the Black Whale? Honestly, my guess is that he either just applied for a job, figured some stuff was going down here on the ship, and he just applied, or he applied for a bodyguard position, or he knows one of the princes. It's a big thing of who or what Hisoka's connected to for how we got onto the ship. But we'll have to wait and see on that aspect. And with how this chapter ended off, I'm curious to see what Nobunaga's group has found at the end of that hallway. But yeah, pretty big chapter. Hisoka reveal, plot threads revisited and tied up, and big bombshells for the rest of this chapter, and big implications for how fucked up the future of this arc is going to be, with how Morena is going to deal with things, and with the literal traitor in the midst. So, I'm excited. Togashi, you just keep on giving us great chapter after great chapter, and I cannot wait to see what happens next. Let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think of this chapter? How do you feel about everything that was revealed here? And what do you think about all this information that we got? And how do you think things are going to pan together with the conflict with the Haley and the Phantom Troop and the rest of the Mafia families? Your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. Look, I'm just going to say one thing and one thing only. I want to see Hisoka fight Dogman. Legitimately. I feel like that would be a fun fight to see. I just want to see Hisoka fight. That's all I want. And I feel like Dogman would be the perfect opponent.